What is good, man? 4 weeks of football under the way. We got week 5 ahead of us here. Fancy and Matt, how are we, gentlemen?
What's going on?
Nice mug, Fancy. Um,
Thank you.
Obviously, still a lot of football that has been shocking us each week. It seems to be the trend this week or this season. Um, what were the takeaways? What was the one game that you were like, wow, I can't believe it was that bad, or I can't believe that they won? What was the one that stood out for you guys? Mine, to give you guys like a little time to think about it, was honestly how bad the Dolphins looked. I mean, I know, Fancy, you took the
Oh,
Titans, but I figured they had Huntley. Matt, me and you talked to last week. You know, he took the Ravens to the playoffs. It's like he had a good run. Maybe, I mean, it's still not enough time to get him to get the full offense underway, but I still expected Mike McDaniels to somehow figure a way to get Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle involved. So any Tyreek Hill fantasy owners out there, I am so sorry for you because this season has been just a rough one. Taking him at the 3 spot or 4 spot or 5 spot when you had other guys there is definitely rough. But that was my thing that stuck out to me was Monday night. Obviously, we had the 2 games, and I mean, the Monday night games. Not to get off track, but the Monday night games, I don't tend to mind them no more because someone made a good point. There's one really fucking bad game. Last week was the Bills, whatever, the Bills and the Jags, and then this week was the Titans and the Dolphins, and then there's another really good game that goes on, the Lions and Seahawks, and then the Bengals and the Commanders last week. So at least we're getting rid of like being stuck just watching that one really bad game where we go to bed like, oh, this sucks, go to bed. It's like at least we do another option, right? It's like if you keep it up with this format, we don't have to watch that one terrible game.
But
Yeah.
I agree with you. I didn't think it was going to be a downgrade from Skyler to
Yes,
to
I
Huntley.
thought it would be an
and
upgrade. I thought it would be an upgrade. And I think
Yep.
that's the one that just stuck out to me was when I was watching them. It was like they have so many weapons with HN and Waddle and Hill and Jonnu Smith, and it's like it was so depressing to like see such a high-powered offense just do nothing. Like I was just like, wow.
But on the
I
flip-
thought I'd see something like
flip side of it, we did see like the complete opposite type of game with the Lions and the Seahawks. So
right.
we did get that, shitty game and then an exciting game
Yeah.
because that one turned out
Very
to be,
electric.
high scoring game. Didn't realize it was going to be 18 for 18 out of Jared Goff, and then what really stood out to me was that trick play.
Oh, dude.
Amon-Ra just drops it straight in the basket.
That was one of the best throws.
Oh.
I thought it was short when he threw it. I was like, oh shit. Like
It was absolutely perfect, right in there. So that was pretty cool. Obviously, I'd rather not have played against Amon-Ra or Jared Goff on the opposite side for fantasy. On that Monday night, come from behind to lose it, but what a great game. We saw lots of offense. Actually, kind of exciting.
The tackle that didn't get made. The Seahawks, that most acrobatic. He kept the yardage going.
Oh,
Yeah,
David Montgomery
Kenneth
when
Walker.
Yeah, we flipped over like twice to.
Oh,
to
that
keep
one,
it-
yeah.
to keep
Even the
after
one when David
contact.
Montgomery truck stick that dude, and then
That's-
that one too.
I was
That's
like-
when I thought you were talking
that
about.
was one of those where,
too.
like, literally, like when you're watching the game, I literally was like, God damn!
Oh,
like,
I saw
like,
that.
It was like,
yeah,
it was like boom, and he just kept going, and he like I thought he was tumbling over in that second attempt, and then he just kept going. I was like,
got
Yeah.
another 10 or 15 yards
like,
after that too.
someone's getting that fucking test note in the mail. You know what I mean? I'm just like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
we
yeah,
want to
yeah.
drug test you after this.
yeah.
You
We'll
know
be
what I mean?
there
Like
on
I was like,
Yeah.
dude, and it like if we're gonna talk about the Lions game just a little bit. The one thing that shocked me was how much was it the touchdown or the 2-point conversion or something, Matt, where Metcalf, he was actually in on that play and nobody
Yeah.
caught it. Even Seattle, I was like, wow, like to not get reviewed up top and then to like it was clear as day catch too. So it was like I was very interested. I was like, wow, that's as a DK Metcalf fantasy owner, that's kind of like fuck, man. But at the same time, I think it could have resulted in something different in the game. I mean, who knows? But definitely haven't been minding the Monday nights as much as we thought we would hate them. At least we're getting one good game out of the 2, which I think we could all agree. Like, give me 2 games, one to like get some shit done while I'm doing something, because it's been that first game that sucked each time. It's been the Bills that was the first game, and then the Commanders, or I'm sorry, the Titans Dolphins where they were both those first games, right? That first slot. So it's like you get a little bit of football in you, the game's not out of the way yet, and then you go tune over the real football game and enjoy some football. So yeah, I mean, me and Fancy, we took the L's this week for our teams. You know, we just move on to the next. It hasn't been the best. We kind of talked about it a little bit before the pod, Matt and Fancy, with our records going into pick'ems. I fall under 500 on the year. Fancy, you got back up, but going into this week's matchups, we don't have the best records that we would like going into week 5. Fancy went 10-6 last week. Matt, you went 9-7. I went 5-11. That puts Fancy at 33-31, puts Matt at 34-30, and me at 31-33. I will say, I think I talked about it a little bit before. Is like I don't really feel like I went against the grain on a lot of my picks. So to be 5-11, I kind of want to look back at mine when we get out of here and just look. I know I went Panthers, but mostly everything I kind of took what was favored and what I really did like. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
definitely
when you're going through the slate, you feel comfortable with a lot of them that, maybe even will skip over them today, right? Where we're consensus, and then for some reason,
there was
something
a
weird
lot that we
happens.
were consensus on that
Yeah.
lost, and I didn't have other games that helped out in any way, um, and so it like
And
I went with the Saints, I went with the Steelers, the Rams, like I mean these are all ones that
you know,
Jets, like
it's
they were favored.
this is
Uh,
this is like to remind everybody, anybody that's new listening, and those that just may have forgot. It's like we are picking this a lot earlier than if you were to ask me the day of. There's a lot of stuff that does
right.
develop in between our
Especially with our fantasy lineup
and
too,
game
right?
day.
The
Yeah,
DK, yeah, it's like
yeah, yeah.
we
There's
got
a lot
guys
of
that are
stuff that
hurt, guys that
changes.
are
So
whatever. But I
so
took
it is
Washington, I took
tough.
Washington, they were favored. Took the Browns, they were favored. Um, I did take the Chargers. That's my mark it down. It's my last time I'm betting against the Chiefs for the rest of the season. I'm done. Like
I've been saying it.
I
I've
went
been
on it
saying it.
last week, and then for whatever this week or this past week, I went against it. Matt convinced me. The Bills
Shame.
Ravens game was, everyone kind of went back and forth with it, and then, at least I finished off on a win with the Lions.
Can,
But
can we go to that though for a sec? Because Chargers, I had the Chargers. They should have won that game.
you know what?
But
And I didn't get to see what everyone talked about. If I'm being absolutely honest with you, like I didn't get to see that I was driving, so I didn't get to see everything that played out on it. I didn't get to see kind of like what everyone said there was a flag and they touched, or there was it's the Chiefs and the refs type thing again. So I was like, well,
basically what it comes down to. But
yeah, and it's
So
kind of
why bet
crazy.
against it? So why
Yeah,
bet against it?
that's
We
true.
know it's
Yeah,
the
we
Chiefs.
know.
We know it's the refs. They're gonna find a way. It's the
Yeah.
story. It's Roger Goodell loves Pat Mahomes. He loves Taylor Swift. That's brought in so much more money for the NFL that people don't realize. Like we're gonna make sure that these guys get it.
well,
More
yeah,
often than
and
not.
not to go down like the deep rabbit hole, but there's a big like theory out there, like these conspiracy, like with the NFL and how it's like it is considered entertainment, right? And so
Right.
how they're shifting into almost like a WWE fake type thing, which I feel
Yeah.
like I've always said in sports, it's so hard to like rig a sport in terms of like, you know what I mean? Like it's very hard to do it, but it is possible. But
You
like
can push it in the right direction,
right,
I
you can push
think.
in the right direction, but you can't like make everything the way you want it to be. You can't just tell them, "Hey, you're gonna throw for this many yards, this many complete." It's like they're still humans.
Right.
But I did see like there was like a legal document that like someone found or something, or like someone like how these guys hack into shit or something like that. That like Kelsey and Swift's relationship like is strictly through the NFL, and it was like to boost up her numbers, his numbers, the NFL numbers. They both got a cut, or it was like this whole thing, and they're gonna be splitting up to like to get more, like to almost like pour more juice
To
into
like to
the
like regenerate it
yeah,
all.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh," like, I was like
So I will say my 2 cents on that, because I saw, the leak of the PR, but to me, I think that they're just being proactive to have a plan together of how they would deal with it if it happens. Right?
That's also very true.
I don't think that's an indication of that this whole thing's, a sham. I think it's well, because it's basically, all this ad revenue and all the promotions on, you see how many times the announcers point it out
it
every
was
single
way
time.
bad. Remember last year we talked about
It
it? It was
is
like, how
slowing
many
Yeah.
down a
times?
lot.
Like,
It is
how
slowing
many
down
times?
a
Like,
lot.
they were showing it like 34 times a game.
Yeah.
Like,
So
Yeah.
that's my take on it is I believe that if that's true, that document saying of the breakup, I think that's just a plan of how they would deal with it if it happens. So that, why not get out in front of it if it did
I
happen?
mean, why bring it
legal
up at all
plan.
though?
Yeah,
Why bring it up at all?
never
I mean,
know.
that's why I understand.
Well, it's
But
millions and millions of dollars. You got to have a plan.
I mean, there's as far as the rigged thing goes, and once again, not trying to like just Alice in Wonderland this motherfucker, but when you look at the numbers and where most of the money gets bet, and then how somehow Dak Prescott's under, or he does throw the second pick, or whatever it may be, it's like,
Or Aubrey
wow,
misses his first 50-yard
how
field goal.
That's what I was just gonna say. That one.
it's like
That's what
Doesn't make
how.
killed
sense.
me, dude. It lost me money too because I had
Oh yeah.
like I forgot what it was. I had something though, and I'm like, oh, it's Aubrey, like automatic, and like it wasn't even. It was like he walked up to that, was like, let me fucking just miss this. Like
Oh,
I was like,
hey,
I've
you
never
could
seen
put
you
that
hit a
on the
ball like
place
that in your
kicker.
career. Like you've never once hit a ball like that once. Like
The placeholder could do that.
Yeah.
And you know that guy isn't making money.
yeah,
He's not making Rodgers money. He's not making Mahomes money. That guy is like,
place
I might not
kickers
be here next
are
year.
important though. You know,
They are important. I'm not saying they're not, but they just don't get those contracts. So it's like if you get somebody with the freaking the gabagoo, he's
Gabagool.
like, you're
Yeah,
gonna
my
fucking
fucking grandparents put all the gold on the.
yeah, or else,
Yeah.
and then it's like okay,
So-
and then you just turn the laces a little bit,
Boom.
and
Bada
yeah,
bing, bada boom.
yeah, that's
All right,
it.
we'll get back on track rather than the Taylor Swift Chiefs. I'm sure even the listeners are like, "Oh my God, here we go again talking about the Chiefs and the Swift and the refs." But going into Week 5, Thursday night football tonight when this gets aired, Bucks, Atlanta. Me and Matt took Atlanta. Matt, I'll let you take your side on. I know you've been big on Bijan this year, so I'll let you get the first crack at the Falcons there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, mine is more on the side of Kirk Cousins. I think he's the one. But I actually do like this matchup of how Baker's playing versus Kirk Cousins. I really do. I want to see. We saw a regression last week, unfortunately, with the play calls, with the usage of Bijan. So I'm looking more of a bounce back game here of Kirk, kind of being able to throw the ball a little bit better, and hopefully they control that with Bijan in the run game, and then that that opens up the routes to actually be able to throw it.
Yeah, I think Kirk has been looking better each week in terms of that back foot. Like we talked about that after week 1, he was not putting any pressure down. He looked terrible. He was spiking everything into the ground. I think he's been a little bit better. The one thing that with like the little amount of usage that Bijan got, he was questionable going into the week. Now he's listed as healthy. It just popped up like a little bit before we started this, and so I wonder if there was maybe something that was lingering on the sideline that maybe just kind of said like, hey, it's I'm a little tweaked with my ankle or hand, whatever it might have been, and they maybe just like went the other way because Tyler Algier is a great backup, and he could definitely start somewhere else if if they wanted him to be traded or whatever, he wanted to go somewhere. So I think that's maybe something that was involved. I looked, like you said, for them to use Bijan heavily this week. Tampa Bay's defense is not that great, and also get Kyle Pitts involved. He had zero catches last week, so get them involved. Get back in the win column at home in Atlanta against a divisional rivalry that you just dropped one last week, and you don't want Tampa Bay to run away with it too much. So that's kind of why I went Atlanta.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, we all know I love Baker Mayfield, and
Where do you go to college?
that's a he's an Oklahoma boy.
Is he?
They produce good Heisman winning quarterbacks. Shout out Kyler Murray. Shout out. I
Jalen
mean,
Hurts?
Jalen Hurts didn't get the
Heisman.
Heisman, but he did. He did play there. He did well. He played under a great coach that now is for USC, and we hate him. But I see the swing back after the very disappointing week 3 game. There's a reason why they kept him. There's a reason why they paid him. There's a reason why they made it to the playoffs last year. I'm not saying it's going to be a big blowout win, but Baker Mayfield somehow makes up, kind of like in that Eli Manning way, like with like a little less ability to like read what's going on, to just figure it out.
Yeah.
That's what I see is like a
You're talking
Eli
about he's a winner.
Manning-esque.
He's a winner.
Yeah, he's like
yeah.
it's not about him. It's not about
Like,
whatever.
hey, I'll
He's
throw
like,
4 picks if we somehow win because of that. I
yeah,
don't
and
care.
I'll take a hit too.
Yeah.
He will absolutely take a hit. And for as far as Florida quarterbacks taking hits, please don't. But just I have you doing it. I have you like you will do it, and you will die for that team.
Yeah.
And that's a Florida
I think it's gonna
problem.
be a good game. I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah.
When it comes down to these things, obviously I just went 5-11, so don't take my opinion on these. I've been hot on player prop bets and all that other stuff. If you guys don't follow our socials, we do put up our bets and everything like that. So I like Monday night, I was up 100 plus on stuff, and it was awesome. But when we come to these picks, I will take a good game over my pick being right. Like I
All
absolutely
day,
will. Like
all
on
day.
a primetime game, give me that good game that I'm sitting down like, holy shit, they might do this. You know what I mean? Or like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh, did you just see that play?
yeah,
Like that back and forth Seattle Lions. It's like that's
yeah.
football, man. That's
We
that's
all
the
had Lions,
that's the
right?
Rams.
And
That's the Rams Chiefs when
yeah.
golf and it was
Oh,
a
but
blast.
Goff Mahomes way back.
And
Yeah,
so
so good.
just give me that Thursday night and I'm happy. And then Sunday, wake up bright and early, get that coffee ready to go. We have a game in London. Um, Vikings
Mate,
Jets. We all took the Vikings. Matt, I kind of touched base with you on the topic a little bit before, but we talked about how impressive the Vikings defense has been. We know they let up on the Packers a little bit last week. When you get in the lead, you kind of just lay off the gas a little bit. You get a little bit too comfortable, instead of being in that tight game that they kind of have
True.
been. But we saw them confuse CJ Stroud. We saw them confuse every quarterback they played leading up to this matchup. Not that I'm saying that they're going to confuse Aaron Rodgers. It'll be interesting because I think this is kind of the real test of that defense is that if they can make Aaron Rodgers look a little bit confused, I think it might be time to talk about the Vikings being the real deal in the NFC like as a whole. But I just think the Jets offense is just out of sync. We saw it last week. If you guys watched any little bit of the game, Aaron Rodgers just extremely frustrated with every receiver on the field. That being with
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard. I mean, every single player running the wrong routes, doing the wrong things, the wrong timing, all this other stuff. And as much I know, I don't even get fancy riled up, but I did want to mention it. When you're a quarterback and you're a veteran quarterback who missed the year before, time in training camp is so essential for these guys. You got
hmm
Garrett Wilson, who's 24 years old. He's still, I mean, every single quarterback he's had, Zach Wilson, Tyler Boyd, or not Tyler Boyd, Tyler, he didn't have Simeon. Who do you have last? Who was the guy I'm thinking? Tim Boyle, sorry. Tim
yeah,
Boyle. So you have all these quarterbacks. You've never played with a quarterback in the NFL. You've never had an NFL quarterback. And when Rodgers goes on these 2-3 weeks retreats of not talking to the team, he's doing a bunch of fucking whatever the hell he's doing in African jungles and shit. It's like it's kind of hard to side with Rodgers in the frustration. Like I get it, they're out of sync. You're used to this, but that's why you should be there. That's why you should be at these things early on, teaching these guys things. Now it's week 4, and now we're dealing with these problems that could have been addressed early on. And so I get it. You're 20 years in. You deserve all the stuff that you're doing. I'm not saying that, but at the same time, I do get the understanding of like, hey, we're here every day. Like you weren't here for 3 weeks. We're trying to get used to you. We've never had a quarterback
Yeah.
like you. That's why the Jets paid you is to be here, and we need to learn from you. But you're not here. And so I think that does have a lot to do with it. And I just think you can't just get into sync in a week. I think maybe week 6, week 7, week 8, we see them starting to get a little bit more fluid. But
I don't know. I mean, they got a handshake and everything, right? Him and Garrett Wilson. Like you thought the rapport was going to be there, but you got to be on the
they
same
argue
page.
a lot. They argue a lot,
That's
which I like to see. I like to see them on try to get
I
on
want
page with
feedback.
Rodgers.
You got to have
And have 'em-
feedback.
yeah,
but they
at the
still
same
need to be
time,
on the same page,
Yep.
on every route because one mistake
Yeah.
and
But
now
even
the
I mean,
ball's going the other way.
even as a whole though, the offense just didn't look good. Brees Hall couldn't get it
True.
going. Like it just looked terrible. So we all took the Vikings. But it'll be fun to wake up and actually like have football like already on type of thing. You know what I mean? Like football's already on. Whether you have fantasy guys or whatever, you just want to throw it on while you're eating some breakfast. It's gonna be on. And then we have the Panthers Bears. In Chicago. You both picked the Panthers, so I'll let whoever wants to go first on the Panther side. You guys didn't want to go with the Panthers with me against the Bengals, but you guys will do it. You guys will do it now against me. It's like I feel like you guys are kind of teaming up on me in some way. I think it's gonna be like an all year thing. Every time I pick the Panthers, you guys don't. But I'll hear you
No
guys
one,
talk
no
first.
one picked the Buccaneers with me, so I don't want to hear it. I, I
Me
mean, I
too,
think, I
moving.
think naturally speaking, Matt as a Lions fan and me as a champion, we don't like the Bears. So I
But
think it's like hard.
Matt,
I
you
think it's
picked the
just hard
Bears
to
the
pick.
one week, didn't you?
Yeah,
You picked the
yeah.
Bears and said that you want the NFC North to be competitive.
I mean, you got to taste food to know
That
you
was the
don't like
plan,
it.
yeah.
All right. So
So
no, just not competitive enough to beat the Panthers, I guess.
yeah, it's just Caleb Williams has proven to be more and more of a letdown.
See,
And
I
I mean,
disagree on that.
as far as much of a hype as he is, it's like there's so much hype around him, and every week it's like this. It will still happen, you
But
know.
if you look at the film, each week he's gotten better.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard.
Week
It's not
week
hard to get better from terrible.
well, I mean, that's
Getting
fair.
better doesn't mean great. It doesn't mean good. Doesn't mean winning.
Well,
Doesn't mean producing the numbers. Doesn't mean replacing Justin Fields good.
yeah.
And that's where I'm just like, when it comes to the Bears offense versus the defense is legit, and I will stand by that. Like, I'm not arguing you about that, but it's just like, I think the Panthers honestly just play better with this quarterback. Like, I don't know if they believe in themselves more. It's almost weird.
No, their offense
Like,
is definitely in more sync
yeah,
but that's just kind of like my defense of it was the Bears defense is going to be the best defense the Panthers have played all year. Like that's the reality of it. And the Panthers still have lost 3 games going up. I mean, they lost against
sure.
the Bengals, bottom 5 defense. It's like if they were going to win a game under Andy Dalton that they should have, it probably would have been that game at home. And so that's where I just kind of fall into like this might be finally the Caleb Williams like week of like, hey, this is a really weak defense. My defense is getting me the ball a lot, whether that's turnovers, quick stop, whatever.
Mhm.
And so he's reading the. I mean, being around Chicago, I see so much stuff on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So I get to see more of like the incompletions and the completions he made, and he made a lot of like impressive throws and good decisions. Where it's like that as a rookie quarterback, as much as I want to just like slam on him like I did after week 1, it's like if you're making progress and your team's at 500, it's like I'll I'll give you a little bit of space to learn how to play in the NFL because I know that obviously we know it's not an easy task. So
Yeah, Rogers absolutely talked about that. That it's a overreactive organization as a whole. The NFL is right now, as far as like you got to produce as a rookie when you don't know what you're doing, or else they're moving on. And it's like that's not how you should operate anything because you have no stability. And I don't want anything. I don't want anyone to think I don't like Caleb Williams because I did watch him play in college when he still was with Oklahoma, and it's like once again, it's one of my boys. I just hate that he left, and it's like I would like to see him succeed. I just don't see enough out of the Bears,
yeah.
happening.
I guess I just try to like not look at like, oh, he's so overhyped because it's like it's not something the player can like. It's not like the player chose to be overhyped. You know what I mean? It's like
He kind of hyped himself up
it's
in
like
college.
we did that. No, I mean,
Pre-draft, he definitely
well, I mean, you're gonna want
made
to do
it
it to get
harder.
money and shit like that. But it's like,
Sure,
I
I'm just
guess,
saying. Well,
but,
that's
yeah.
going to be part of it. So I'm going to say you're overhyped because you
That's fair.
fed into it as well.
Matt,
So
Yeah, only thing I can add to it is, I told you last week I like that Andy Dalton, coming in basically playing for free. He's got nothing to lose at this point. So I liked the connection between Deontay and the rookie Leggett.
who's it really good?
23 targets between those two guys last week. So I think if they continue to get those connections rolling, I like Andy Dalton being able to throw it to him. So that's
Yeah.
why I took him. I wanted to take him last week with you, but so maybe that what pushed me to take him this week.
I think
Yeah,
it's a
I suppose.
color thing for Matt
Could be.
because
Definitely
it's
could be.
blue. Because
It's
blue.
not Honolulu blue though. It's close, but
That's
it's not the
close.
same.
He likes my
Same to me.
lights. No.
Yeah.
Then we got the Ravens, Bengals. We all took the Ravens. Pretty much the way we see it is until Joe Burrow is back and not just beating the Panthers. You got to have a value win here. And if they do, hey, we're not going to be upset about it. We wanted Joe Burrow to have an MVP year. Maybe last week was what they just needed to get that offense flowing a little bit. The offense did look better. I mean, the last 2 weeks we've seen Jamar Chase and him connect on some touchdowns, which has been
yeah.
nice. We obviously want to see that, but we all took the Ravens in that one. We all took the Patriots. Obviously, beginning of the pod, we talked about how bad the Dolphins look. I don't think that gets any better. And
Did we think we were going to be picking New England
we
against the
didn't-
Dolphins here?
We did not at all. We
Oh,
all had the
man.
Dolphins winning the AFC East. So this is definitely not what we want to see.
Yep.
I kind of still do hope the Dolphins win this matchup just so they go 2-3, and then maybe Tua comes back in a few weeks, maybe next week, maybe the week after. It is just a concussion, so we'll see. Like he wants to play. That's probably the only way our prediction comes true. But if they lose this 1-4, I mean, at that point, why bring them back, especially with the Bills kind of running away with that division. And then we have the Commanders, Browns. We all picked the Commanders. The Browns are just the next game is Jags.
They don't have a Flacco.
Like it's like I just every week I like I don't know why you let Flacco go. I don't know why you signed Watson. I guess Myles Garrett is hurt and he's not talking about it. No one's talking about it. Like Chubbs isn't looking as good to come back as he was. Amari Cooper's like I don't know. Like Browns are like they're on fire right now. It's a dumpster fire.
Nick Chubb did get the activation though, so I mean
yeah,
we're
it's gonna be
probably 3 weeks away still, but
yeah.
they did open the window.
We'll see. And but yeah, then we got the Jags Colts. Me and Matt, we took the Colts. With that mindset of Joe Flacco. Somehow the Colts looked better with Joe Flacco. I think what teams need to start considering when their team is good and they just maybe are missing something is just go out and get a veteran quarterback that has played somewhere else and just let him go in your offense and see what happens. Like, and because it's worked for the Browns, we saw them go to the playoffs. We never predicted that. The Browns looked unbelievably good last year. We saw them win a playoff game. I mean, we saw so many things happen when Joe Flacco under center. I just think with the Jags being 0-4, that offense still isn't clicking. They're not in London yet. And Joe Flacco, if he does get it, I don't think they ruled Anthony Richardson out yet. Obviously, we're recording this Wednesday night before all this information is out. But I'm with you, Matt. Colts defense, Jonathan Taylor on the ground, who is questionable, so that also plays a factor into as well. But I like the odds even with Joe Flacco under center. I don't think the starting quarterback changes my position on it.
I went with I had to go with the Jags. Only, I mean,
eventually they have to win, right?
Half of that is yes, they do have to win. And I think if there is a team that they can beat offensively, I think it's the Colts. Now if they can stop Joe Flacco or Anthony Richardson from putting up points, I'm not too sure, but I think this is where we finally see Trevor Lawrence look like he did
last year when they went 8-1.
Yeah. I think
we were talking about the Jags being a powerhouse team last year at this point when they were 4-0, 5-0. It's crazy to think about that they're 0-4 right now, and you wonder how many more games him and Doug Peterson have until they something changes, like whether it's him or Doug.
They're definitely going to knock the dust off, I think, and this is where they both know that their jobs are on the line.
Yeah,
and I think it'd be stupid to get rid of Trevor Lawrence, but head coaches come and go.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Sometimes you just need that change of scenery in that aspect. So,
look at the Chiefs.
Yeah. And then the last noon game of the slate, we have one of my favorite matchups. I kind of wish this was another primetime game. I get they can't put the Bills every primetime game, but I think we'd all love to see kind of the future of the NFL face off in Josh Allen and CJ Stroud. Me and Fancy going CJ Stroud and the Texans. Matt, you going the Bills. Fancy, I don't know about you, but I think these are games that the Texans kind of have to win. I know that sounds like obviously cliche, but it's
every game's a game you have to win, right?
It's one of those where at home, you're looking at making some more room in that AFC South division race, and it's a good team that you're probably going to have to go through in the playoffs at some point if you're going to go deep. So I think you're kind of looking at that pre-playoff.
I've never gone deep,
and I think with what we saw from the Bills, they kind of finally had that game of and we don't know what we're not saying the Bills are going to collapse after that, but just like when the Lions got smacked in the face with the loss, what are they going to do afterwards?
Right.
What is Atlanta going to do afterwards? What are the Packers going to do afterwards? What are the Cowboys? It's that bounce back game, like Josh Allen said. Like, I'm so happy that we lost this early in the season because we haven't done it before. We usually go all the way to the end, and then it's like, oh shit, what went wrong? And now there's not enough time to fix it. Kind of like what happened to the Eagles last year. And so I think playing off that game, I want to see the Bills come back and be the Bills we saw in the first 3 weeks for me going forward. So that's what gives me that comfort of taking the Texans in that matchup.
Yeah, and kind of what you're saying is that's why I picked the Bills is the up-down theory of they saw how bad it can get.
You find those holes.
Yeah. And then now they game plan, they correct it. And they have to come back because that was bad last week. It really was. I know Ravens look good, but at the same point, they looked really bad too. So if they can have the up down theory is, you find out why you lost, and if you can correct it, you show how good of a team you actually are.
Right. So why did they lose? Because that was the game I was going to talk about earlier at the very beginning of the pod. Was like what happened to the Bills?
Huh?
I mean, what happened?
The Ravens. I mean,
Yeah.
the Ravens just dominated them.
I
So
But I
think
mean, we
the
also
Ravens finally started clicking, and
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
talked about it. The
I mean-
Ravens clicking is scary, and I think that switch finally clicked of like now everything's firing in all cylinders, and it just took them a little bit to get going, but the Bills just hadn't played a team like that, and on paper the Ravens are much better team than the Bills on paper, and so they're going to get hit with that, and they're going to have to figure out a game plan against those teams because they're going to be out rostered by a lot of teams in terms of pure talent per individual. So,
Sure.
going forward, it's kind of just that, hey, take it on the chin and figure it out next
is
week.
this a sign that like Josh Allen can do a lot and he's definitely an MVP candidate, but he can't do it all.
I
We
mean,
saw
no-
it with Cam
no
Newton.
quarterback can,
We saw it with Cam Newton.
yeah, no quarterback
You know?
can. So
So it's like,
Yeah. then we have the Broncos Raiders. I'll pick the Broncos. Broncos defense is legit. That's the only thing we have the upside of right now. Like we do not believe in Bo Nix. It's just the simple fact that the Broncos defense can shut down Aaron Rodgers, and Garrett Wilson and Alan Lazard and Brees Hall, and so that's good enough for me to give them another
Yeah.
vote on a win there, especially with a Raiders team with no Devontae
Hey.
Adams. The quarterback situation's back and forth. So nothing really to even really watch in that.
what's the lowest score in the modern history? Because that's what we might get out of
a
this
little
game.
3-0 game there?
I
Dude,
think-
that'd be sick.
I think we had it in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. It was like 12-9.
Yeah, the Rams and Patriots.
It's fucking terrible.
And then we have the 49ers Cardinals. Obviously, we saw the Cardinals are kind of taking a couple of steps back. Not saying that they're completely done, but it is unfortunate that they are going to probably fall to 1-4 here. We did take the 49ers. 49ers, they're starting to click again with everyone coming back healthy. Kittle, Debo, everyone's good. Jordan Mason is. I mean, honestly, that offense really wouldn't be much different different with CMC. It's crazy. I mean, it might be a hot take, but like Mason is good. Like Mason is really good.
He is
And so the 49ers shouldn't even be worried. Their defense is finally looking pretty solid. We saw Fred Warner with the pick six.
good. And everything with Ayuk also. It's like, boy,
They don't even need him.
No.
Why even
Yeah.
pay him? Yeah, why even
Yeah.
pay him? You could have just let him go and then had Juwan Jennings, who is number 3 in the league right now in receiving
Yeah.
yards. So
yeah.
then it brings us to the Packers Rams, a little Green Bay, little LA, little
Yeah.
Jordan Love in the big LA. Matthew Stafford, Lions, lots of blue, Matt.
My son's
Me
team
and
right there.
Fancy,
There
we
you go.
took the Packers. Fancy is your team. I'll give you the runaway. Give me the
Yeah, hold the feet while I fuck this chicken. So definitely the way the Packers looked, like I'm not mad at the loss that we had last week because when you show up in a Brett Favre jersey and give me a Brett Favre fucking performance, I'm hard for that. 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, not 400, just under 400 yards, 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Like to make it a 1-point game with those stats, I'm like, dude,
yeah.
take me back to the 90s. That's the good old days.
It said the last time someone threw like 380 plus, 3 touchdowns and 3 picks was Brett Favre.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And I'm here for it, And with him being diagnosed with the Parkinson's from the 14,000 CTEs he's been diagnosed with, and then the other 20,000 he wasn't diagnosed
14,000
with.
CTEs. Not
No, he's like
concussions,
it's like
CTEs.
it's like 1,000 that they estimate that he got in his whole career.
Yeah, but you said CTEs, not concussions. You can't even
You
be
quantify it
diagnosed
as
with
CTEs.
Yeah.
So
He had 14,000 CTEs. He got diagnosed with shit that people were like, you can't even get diagnosed with. That's how hard he was getting hit. Like, I got to look back and like look at some highlights of him just getting crushed because it was definitely like
Dude.
before.
And
like,
it was
my time of,
it was after the ball was out of his hand by
Yeah.
like a minute, and then just Ray Lewis just
Yeah, and that was when you
helmet
just
to
get
helmet.
hit. Yeah, like
Oh, yeah, you can
was
get
getting
hit.
concussions in a league that like they barely let you even touch the quarterback. Like back then, it was like, oh, you can kill him, Like they're
Yeah.
like you can do it. I mean, like
There's a reason
like-
why like Aaron Rodgers had his collarbone broken so many times because it's like you can still sling someone to the ground.
Oh yeah, like
And
you,
then it's, like,
that was
right
back
in
then
that
when guys
transition
were
period.
legitimately trying to hurt the quarterback. It was like we're gonna win this game because we're taking your guy out. Like
we got to
are
remember
going-
that was like the same year I think Sean Payton and a few of the other
the
Saints
Saints.
administration was suspended for the bounty program that they
Yeah,
were
right.
running like
that was
illegit.
wild. That was such
So-
a wild thing.
Yeah,
I'm
people
with
don't know
Fancy,
that
though.
football.
I'm with Fancy though. Jordan Love, almost 400 yards. while still like lingering on the injury. You can tell the injury was bothering him. Like you could definitely tell, and to still throw 400 yards, almost come back against a good. I mean, that was the most yards that team that Vikings defense we talked about, Matt, has led up in I don't know how long. So the Rams, they already announced no Cooper Kupp. Puka's still on the IR. It's like if they can't get it done against the Rams, or I'm sorry, against the Bears, I just, you know what I mean, I can't go against the needle of like the Packers are healthy besides Watson and they're okay. Like they have 3 other wide receivers that are very
Wicks is
good.
so gross right
Vic,
now.
Jaden Reed, Dobb. I mean, it's
Oh
Wicks
God,
is
dude.
so gross. It's so I'm on board with the Packers. I think they take it for sure. You got anything for us on the Rams or no?
No, just
He
Matthew
loves Matt
Stafford.
Stafford.
Just the kids' favorite team and Matthew Stafford, and it's blue. That's all. That's all.
That's
Matt's got
about
for you
it.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you tell him.
I'm with it. I'm with
Yeah,
it. You
hey,
know.
I like it. And then Seattle obviously gets a much easier matchup this week. Going, obviously against
Give
the
me
Giants.
give me anybody against the Giants.
Give me anybody against the Giants. And this will be the week that the Giants win. So like I am so serious. Like this will be the week that Daniel Jones somehow wins.
After seeing the Seahawks, put up
And they'll do it
20
without
points.
Malik Neighbors. I don't know how, but they will. We still don't know if he's available or not. But and then the Sunday night football game, which honestly most stoked for in terms of like I want the Cowboys to lose so bad. I mean, we talked about them almost losing Thursday night to the Giants, and like we were so happy. And it's like just going into your work week, Fancy, with the Cowboys losing. Like just think about it. Like
I know.
like how hard does that get you?
I know.
Stand no.
That's why I'm picking them. You know.
Hey, you've picked them 4 times in a row.
I picked them 4 times in a row. I'm half and half. And really, I should be 0-4. So, you know, I
Yeah.
don't know what to say. Like, it's my old coach. You know, I don't hate Mike McCarthy. I think this is a organization that everybody in charge is bound by the owner. And no matter who takes that job, I don't care if it's Bill Belichick, I don't care if it's Nick Saban, whoever, they're going to be hit with so many restrictions and like when you get undercut or someone steps on your toes by someone else that's above you and makes you look like you're not in charge, it's like you're gonna have a hard time.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get what you need, what you know that you need. As a Super Bowl winning coach, he knows what it takes. And so it's like, why is it not happening? What do they need? Jerry Jones to get the fuck out of the way. Until that's done,
and with that, Fancy to the Cowboys.
Yeah. So I picked the Cowboys because I'm always wrong. I mean, I did break over 500 this week, but it's like I've been steadily wrong. I did pick the Steelers to not go over 500 this year, so I need them to start losing. So I do think the Cowboys can do that.
Matt?
I almost want to see the Cowboys improve this week because Lions have them next week. So I want to have them, play well now. So
you don't want them to like have a defeating loss though and be like, what the fuck is going on? Should we fire Mike McCarthy? Like all this stuff?
then they have a reason to figure stuff out and actually play well against the Lions. I'd rather have them have a little bit of confidence. That way, we can be the ones that demoralize them a little bit.
Yeah, I just think the game was a lot closer against the Giants than it probably should have been. I think we talked about that over the weekend, and like the Steelers defense is a good damn defense, man, and they're at home. We know how Pittsburgh can be in terms of like
TJ Watt is good, right?
Oh yeah, he's good because
he was like on the sidelines quite a bit last week.
That's not it.
That's why I didn't know. I didn't know if I missed something.
Every week, he'll break his thumb and then go back in. Like that
guy's. I saw him. I saw him on the sideline a lot, so I was curious about his status. So
yeah, with that, it's just like I'm taking the Steelers defense and the fact that like Justin Fields does look good. Like
you are a Bears fan.
He does look good, and it's one of those things where we saw him get it done on the run last week, Matt. I mean, he got in twice, and so. Yep. Not that it's going to be a shootout, but the Steelers still are going to be able to get it done on the ground between whether it's Najee or Jalen or Cordell Patterson or Fields or throw it over the top to
24-17, 27-21, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And I just think the Steelers being at home with their defense, it's just they're favored somehow in this matchup, and I like that they're favored. and I just
Being
want to see the Cowboys.
being
Yeah.
home is big for the Steelers. That's
Yeah.
one of those home advantages
Like
that's
the
real
Ravens when they're at home.
powerful.
It's like when they're at home, it's like take them,
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's real
and that
powerful.
leads us to the Monday night game. We only have one this week because obviously, as you guys see in the graphics, the Eagles, Chargers, Lions, and Titans are all on a bye this week. We start the byes, so things get a little funky, things get a little crazy on us, and we all took the Chiefs 4-0 at home. We haven't seen much of the Saints since the 2-0 start. We haven't seen them put up like 20 points since. I feel like after they put up 40 plus twice. So Chiefs at home, even without Rashi Rice, they get Kelsey involved a little bit more on prime time in Kansas City. The fans are there. It's a little crazy. And those are our picks. Leading us over to the DK segments where Fanti went on board on top again. The only noticeable scores for me, Kyron Williams, Hubbard, McLaurin, and for Matt, Nico, Neighbors, and Johnson, which all had amazing weeks. Matt, you just
That's a nice Johnson.
you kind of just got hit hard with Robinson, and that's pretty much it. Everything else kind of gave you what you thought. It just Robinson
Exactly. Yep.
didn't. If Robinson gives you another 10 points, you're on top. But
Like I
Fancy
said,
coming in hot. I mean,
it was Monday Night Football. I had the lead, but obviously DK was going to be able to put up more than 10, and he did. So
yeah. And Fancy coming in hot. I mean, 4 guys with Flames. Baker, great game. Aaron Jones honestly left a lot of points on the board. I told you guys before I had that 18 legger and he needed to get in, and he probably could have got 3 that game. I'm not even kidding you. And,
Oh yeah.
And so, I mean, another week for Fancy in the win column that puts him. That was what, week 4, so that puts Fancy at the most wins on
2-0.
the on the DK. Well, 2-2 technically. But yeah. I'm like 2 out of 4 weeks. I mean, 2
It's like it's 2-1 and
Oklahoma
1.
math. That's what it is, Matt. That's why they win
It-
so many Heismans. Is they don't even do math. They just go,
Hey.
2-0.
I won. I won.
I
2-0.
won. I win.
Week 4, I'm 2-0.
It's like Kevin, you lose, I win.
So yeah, it's
But for this week, we finally got our first
we got it.
consensus pick, and it's on the D. We all picked the same D. We all picked the same good old, good priced D.
don't take that.
You go take that. Matt does it real good too because he did it while we were golfing. But I fell back into the realm. Like I said, I have the Bears winning that matchup. I think everything you said was right. Fancy Williams, obviously a lot of people think he's overhyped. Hasn't performed the way he should. Besides that one game where he had like 350 plus yards, but he also threw the football like 54 times.
Yeah.
But Kareem Hunt, we saw him get like what, Matt? I think 17 carries or something like that. So I think it's one of those
He
things
took
where
over that role for
he
sure.
hasn't even like, he was the running back before, right, with the Chiefs. Like until he kicked the girl or whatever the hell he did. And so Andy Reid still trusts him. I mean, he still trusts him. It's kind of an easy fit where like when a coach like Andy Reid trusts you, that gets you the ball more than the rookie fullback that you drafted. You know what I mean? They don't really have much depth. And then
I wonder
Kenneth
what
Walker,
all else and Andy Reid trusts whenever he's trusting Kareem Hunt in his domestic violence case.
Kenneth Walker, though, obviously, Matt, we talked about he's only played 2 games, has like 5 touchdowns already. I like the price for that. Zay Flowers,
especially if they get up quick. It's gonna be a run heavy game.
Zay Flowers against the Bengals. For me, I liked it just because they're playing the Bengals. It could end up being a shootout because the Bengals, they don't have a defense, so it might be a 28-31 game. So the Ravens can't rely on that run game of Derrick Henry 20 plus carries, right? They need to throw the football, and I think obviously Zay Flowers is that guy. DJ Moore, I just wanted to bubble up with Williams. Wan'Dale Robinson, if you guys missed my week 5 waiver wire pickups, Wan'Dale Robinson was at my number 1 on the list. Opened about, I think, 75% of leads, if I'm remembering correctly. 40 targets in 4 games, even with Malik Nabers there. So if Malik Nabers not there, I mean, look for him to get almost 13, 14, 15 targets at least. I think his value is even higher, like I said in the TikTok, with Malik Nabers there because they're double teaming Malik Nabers as a rookie already, right? So Wan'Dale Robinson quite literally is the safety valve for Daniel Jones in that offense, and they're going to be down. Let's be real. Seattle just put up 400 passing yards in the Lions. They're going to do the same damn thing to the Giants. So they're going to be down, got to throw the football. Cody Parkinson, love him. I mean, he's getting a lot of targets from Matthew Stafford with Puka and Cooper out. Garrett Wilson, got to get back on track with Rodgers. That's the guy he's got to throw to, right? So I like that a lot. And then Broncos, like we said, it literally might be a 3-0 game. So I thought the price for that should have been a lot more, especially after keeping the Jets to under 10. So
Yeah, absolutely. Jaden Daniels just looks good right now. I mean, he's doing everything right, checking all the boxes, especially as a rookie. It's hard not to scoop him up. I mean, maybe a little pricey. Josh Jacobs, once again, when I first started this list, I literally had like 5 Packers on there, and I had plenty of budget left. I was just like, honestly, they could be fine. Josh Jacobs, he stuck with it. He's my next jersey pick. Ramondre Stevenson, it's kind of like clutch or kick situation for him, and it's against Miami. He's gonna punch it in. He's gonna punch it in the end zone. Zay Flowers, obviously, like you said, I love that guy. He's got a lot of talent.
Somebody. Yep.
He's got a lot of talent. And McLaurin, once again, I like to pair at least quarterback and somebody.
Little bubble, yeah, get that big 80-yard touchdown or something.
Yeah, and that's gonna be money. I got Mooney. I just with Bijan,
Mooney's getting a lot of targets. I mean,
they're gonna be split. They're gonna be split. So it's I see him getting it. Ferguson, Pittsburgh defense putting pressure on Dak. He's gonna be dumping it to the tight end. He's gonna be absolutely just like the Jason Witten role. That's what I saw. As I said,
especially against a tough defense.
This is a Jason Witten. You're gonna get a bunch of targets. You're gonna get
it's gonna be 10 catches for 42 yards.
But it's tight end role, like whatever. I got Swift. Another once again, running back because I don't believe in Caleb Williams. I'm not sold on Caleb Williams yet. Let me say that. I don't hate the kid. I hope he finds his way. It's not going to be this game, and Swift's going to help him out. And then Broncos D.
Easy peasy.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I went with Fields for my quarterback. The stack that I did was with the tight end, Pat Freiermuth. I think he's got that touchdown upside. If Fields isn't the one falling in the end zone. You already talked about it with Aaron Jones. So many opportunities. So I think he's able to actually get in the end zone this time. So I picked him. I'm really high on Bucky. It really looks like he is taking over that role. This is the
week by week, slowly by
if this is the game that he does it, 5,400 is a great value for him. And then spent high on Nico. Nico's been getting it done.
Hoping for a shootout in that game.
Yep, and then a shootout in that game is gonna be good points there. I was torn on this. I took Deontay last week, and it worked out. But with Xavier Legette also getting just as much targets, I was kind of torn on which one to do. But I've got Carolina winning, so I'm gonna go with Deontay again. And then I'm really hoping. I know we talked about it before. I'm hoping Flacco is the starting quarterback.
That's what I said on the waiver wire thing too. Another guy was Josh Allen. If Flacco's in, Josh Allen's had 9 targets, 8 catches.
Yep.
Yep.
So
I was going to be thrown a lot better and more efficiently if Flacco's in.
Yeah. So I went with the upside of Pittman if Flacco is in. I think he showed it last year. Deep ball threats. So that's why.
Wow,
and
do you even like tight ends? You don't even have 2 tight ends this week.
I finally didn't. I know. And it's because
Matt doesn't like him tight.
Washington's, I feel like they were really giving up in the air to the wide receivers. I was going to go with Amari Cooper, just didn't have enough cash left. So on the other end of it's Jerry Jeudy. So
we all have Broncos defense. So hopefully we see a fire at that spot when we look back next week. Hopefully our first consensus pick is. I feel like when we all typically jump on board with a pick, it doesn't happen very often, but I feel like when we do, it works out for us. That's why it makes me comfortable seeing. I know it's only a defensive spot, but there'd be some weeks where we get I know last year we all picked golf at one point a couple times throughout the season. Like when it happens, it seems like we're all on the same page and it works out for us. So we'll see how the first consensus pick goes, and then that leads us straight into our a little 3-leg parlay, dude. A little 3-leg parlay. Last week, both of these gentlemen let me down. I haven't missed my leg since week 1. But last week the Rams did not beat the Bears, and last week Barkley did not get in the end zone for us. But this is $25 to win 134. if you tailed every single one of our bets, which I don't think we've had anyone tail every single bet, but if you did, and when we hit this, it'll put you up $9 on the year. And then we promise after this that we're gonna slim down on the odds a little bit. But we are pretty confident in this. We spent about 30 minutes beforehand
Oh yeah.
going through this, making sure that we liked every single pick. So Fancy clocked in an over 212.5 passing yards. Jane Daniels, he picked him in the DraftKings. You guys saw that. So he's putting his money where his mouth is. We let Matt get his, his number one pick every single week. The bread and butter, Derrick Henry, anytime touchdown against the Bengals. I think he already has 17 touchdowns this season, something like that. It feels like
40 touchdowns, I think.
yeah. And then I took Broncos -1. We're all very confident in the Broncos winning. So them at -1 against the Raiders at home with that defense. We really like it. Like we said, plus 438, a little bit on the lower odds than what we've been doing, but still, we really do believe in this. So hopefully we hit this week, and then we keep having some locks for you in the future. But with that being said, man, we got one thing left. Everyone's favorite thing, Matt. Do you know what that is?
Trivia time.
Trivia time.
All right, here we are with trivia time. Sorry if this one's tough. I don't expect you to get it. But like I tell you every week, I like to, find a topic that I think we're going to talk about and go through and then try to find a question for you. So we've been talking about Joe Flacco coming in and being that veteran quarterback. So maybe if you can let's first start with maybe the number of teams you think the most got the journeyman's been on. But if you can name them, please do. So if you can name the journeyman who's played on the most teams.
Name him or how many?
Case Keenum.
So you could try to do both if you can get around.
Fitzpatrick's played on more teams than Casey Keenum.
That's true.
But it's not Fitzpatrick. I know this because he talked about it on one of those what is it? He does Thursday night with them. He talked about it, and it's not him. It's another quarterback though.
Let's start with. So how many teams do you think Fitzpatrick has been on?
12.
I think we talked about this 7, right?
I think it's
12. Is it that many? I don't remember.
9 for Fitz.
Okay, and it's like 4 or 5 more than that the guy, because he
was only ever a backup, right?
Yes.
He has. He has started. He has started.
I do know it. I'll let you guys know, Fancy. I do know it.
I have no idea. I don't know who to guess.
He did have to come in and start, but yes, he basically.
I might botch his first name.
When did he start?
But I know.
When was his start? What year?
It's probably been a couple years ago, but I remember him coming in. I can't think of what team it was now. But you might recognize the name.
You guys are listening to this, though, and you do know the player without looking it up. Drop it down in the comments we want to see if anyone can get this without obviously listening to
He is currently a backup quarterback.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's still technically in the league, right? Or is he XFL now?
No, he's a number 2. He's a number 2 on a team right now.
Okay, yeah, then I know exactly who it is then.
Was he high drafted?
No, I don't think so.
5th round.
Oh.
Somehow he just keeps I don't know. I don't even know how it I have no idea how he's lasted this long.
I don't know. I wouldn't even know where to start.
Like I said, I might have his first name wrong, Matt. But is it like Joshua Johnson or Josh Johnson or
That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where's he at?
Currently backup for the Ravens.
That's right. That's right.
And where is he from?
He's played for the Cardinals, dude, the Redskins at the time. He's played he's played everywhere, dude.
I feel like he was at the Bills maybe.
Where was his last start? Because I think he started for the 49ers or the Cardinals. He started for one of them. It might have been the 49ers. Where he got traded last second, and then that might have been his last start, is 49ers.
14 different teams.
So let's see.
Played the UFL and the XFL. 5th round of the 2008 draft.
Yeah, so 2008. So it's not even that
Yeah, he's fucking old.
So it was the 2021 Ravens. Oh no, 2021 Jets.
Did he play
that
for
he
the
had
49ers though?
he did.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, when?
12,
2022.
14,
So he was with them. Yeah, so that's how I like
and
know the
20,
name is because
20 to
I swear
2021.
he went there during
And
that whole
22.
like Jimmy G debacle. Like,
He's
Or-
been in the Niners 5 times.
yeah,
Or was he one of the guys when Brock was hurt?
no, I don't think so. I don't think he's been there since.
Was it that year that he jumped in and had to
Oh,
like
I don't think so. I thought that was maybe it was, dude. You might be right. That like I remember the name though.
it was something like that?
Hold on,
Yeah, where
hold on.
basically
Yeah,
practice
he
squad
was
and-
signed to the active roster after a foot injury to Jimmy G.
Yeah, it was Jimmy G.
January
Jimmy
2020.
G debacle.
Johnson
Oh,
played
yeah,
first
okay.
game,
That's what it was.
played his first playoff game in the NFC Championship against the Eagles
Yeah, that's how I yeah.
in
That's
relief
what it
of
was,
injured
okay.
Brock Purdy, who tore his ulnar collateral ligament. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
he's had a
I
concussion.
mean, it's kind
so then
of
he got
impressive though, dude. 2008. Like you figure like 2008 you get drafted. So since then you figure out what is that fucking 16 years, and it's like you played on 14 teams.
and in 3 different leagues. Because he played for the UFL and the XFL,
Right. So those
like
so those,
years
yeah,
apart.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
So like,
that's what I mean.
he
So,
got
like, those are
out,
the 2
went
years.
back,
Yeah,
got
the 2
out,
years.
went back.
Yeah, out of 16 years, he's played in the NFL 14, and then the XFL in the other one, and the other 2. But it's like to keep getting a chance
You have to have something
as
to
a
taste.
5th rounder is kind of crazy. It's not like it's just like you know
You have talent.
Andy
There's something
Dalton
they
getting
see.
tossed around or Casey. It's like this guy, So
Well,
wow,
and
that's a
Flacco
good draft.
Flacco's at 7 now, which I thought was impressive. Just like
Yeah,
Fitz
he's
was
done
at
though. I mean, like if anything, he's got one more left.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
that, like, and so he ain't getting unless he gets tossed around 12 times this year. Like
That's crazy.
But maybe
Yeah.
Josh Dobbs will get up there. Josh Dobbs is already like 6, so
Yeah, Josh
never know.
Dobbs could definitely be tossed
But-
around. And yeah, there's there.
yeah, hey, that's all we got for you guys. We hope to be better this week on. Well, I hope to be better at least on the picks. We hope to hit the 3-leg parlay for you guys. Like we mentioned last week, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Comment anything you guys have question wise. We love giving you guys advice. Love feedback in any sort of way. And like I said last week, make sure you follow us on socials. Matt does a great job of giving us the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end leaders each week as a stat thing that we post every Tuesday morning. Just a cool thing to look at. We post on Instagram and TikTok. And then we also Matt's been doing the RB snap share, which gives us a percentage of how Matt knows that Bucky Irvin's getting a little bit more involved in
Yep.
Tampa Bay's offense than Rashad White is. And I've been doing the week waiver wires, which last week you guys seemed to love it. So if you guys are coming in from the TikTok, we love that you're here. We're happy that you're here. Please make sure you guys are subbed. But pretty much that's all we got left for this week 5. You gentlemen got anything else for us?
Yeah, last thing I've got is go Tigers. Advance from the wild card going into the ALDS against the Cleveland
Guardians.
Indians, but
Guardians.
Guardians, yes.
Yeah, shout out Major League and Charlie Sheen. That was a good movie. And the Royals also moved on, and that's very exciting. So yeah, don't
Little baseball.
yeah, a little baseball
Little-
action.
little
Oh,
It's October. It's October. There you go.
Yeah, little
October ball, and the yeah, that's it.
Mid sentence. Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Hey, the Alabama Georgia game. If anybody caught that, please leave some stuff in the comments where you think that quarterback's going to go when he gets drafted.
For sure.
So
But yeah, appreciate you guys, and that's all we got for you. And we will see you guys next week. Later.
See ya.